Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. All protein is the same, right? No, we know that in this audience. And we're going to talk about the difference between a burger made from meat versus a burger made from plant. Because today we have the Impossible Burger, we have the Beyond Burger, and we have lots of different new alternatives for people who want to feel like they're eating meat, but they're not. And I don't discourage people. If you're a vegan because you feel that animal treatment is at stake here, and you would like to taste something that tastes like meat, I don't begrudge you if you want to eat one of these plant-based burgers. But do you know if it is at least the same quality of protein as the meat that you are foregoing? And that's what we're going to get to the bottom of today. Before we get started, of course, we have to thank our title sponsor, and that is Legendary Foods, the makers of the Tasty Pastry. The Tasty Pastry was created to replace the Pop-Tart, and it has done that and much more. With less than 1 gram of sugar and 20 grams of high-quality dairy protein, and 4 to 5 net carbs, for those of you who are low-carb or ketogenic dieters, you will never taste a better snack that allows you to stay within your dietary lane than the Tasty Pastry. Because Ron Penna and his team at Legendary Foods have created something that really tastes like cake. You will swear you're eating a piece of cake. You'll swear you're eating junk, but you're not. You'll swear you're cheating, but you're not. And your kids will love them. You can send your kids to the school with them, or give them for breakfast instead of a bowl of Captain Crunch. They will love them. They will swear they're eating junk because that's all kids like to eat, but they're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary. Use the code SHR10 for 10% off. I promise you, if you buy them once, you will never want to be without them again. Without further delay, welcome to the show, Dr. Hans Stein. How are you?
Thank you. I am doing very well, Carl. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. So you are with the University of Illinois in Champaign, correct?
That is correct. Champaign-Urbana.
Okay. And you published a study recently comparing a plant-based burger to a meat-based burger. Why? Why did you feel the need to do this?
Well, we have worked on protein quality for many years and have published papers on the protein quality, the amino acid quality of a number of different proteins, including dairy proteins, meat proteins, plant proteins, wheat, soy, pea, and so forth. But we had not previously taken any of the final products that are now being promoted in the marketplace, such as the plant-based burgers, and we had not evaluated those products for their amino acid quality. So that was really the background here, that we wanted to test the hypothesis that these plant-based burgers deliver the same amino acid value as the originally beef or pork-based burgers.
So, and you really want to get the message to the audience that just because something says 14G in the protein line, that they're necessarily getting all of the amino acids that they need. And so the method you use to evaluate protein, it's called the DIAAS, correct?
That is correct. And the main point here is that protein is not protein. You can have your 14 grams of protein or more protein from one source or another source, but they may be very different compared to each other. So what we as humans need are really digestible amino acids, because we need those to build to synthesize our proteins in the body. And there are a number of amino acids that we need every day in the food, because we cannot synthesize those ourselves. And when we eat, we get the amino acids from protein, but different proteins have different compositions of those amino acids. So it's important that we select proteins that have the amino acids that we need, and that those amino acids are digestible, meaning they can be absorbed from the intestinal tract of humans and into the body, so they can be utilized. And there are big differences among proteins in that regard, and that's why it's not very good to compare protein to protein, because that doesn't tell us how they compare in terms of amino acid composition and digestibility. And what the DIAAS system, DIAAS system, does is that goes beyond the protein comparison and compare different products based on the contribution of digestible amino acids. And that is the most accurate way to compare different foods. And that's a technique we used in this study to compare the foods, and that's the technique that is recommended by the FAO in Rome and by many other food organizations.
So is this kind of like a metabolomic type process where you feed, and in this case, pigs, because they greatly resemble humans when it comes to digestion, you feed pigs a protein, and then you measure their blood postprandial to see the amino acids that show up in pooling?
We don't measure the blood. We measure what goes into the pig and what comes out of the intestines of the pig, and then the difference is what is being absorbed, and that is what can be utilized for protein synthesis in that animal or in humans. And so that is the methodology we use. And again, this methodology is recommended by the FAO in Rome as the best and most accurate way to assess the quality of different proteins that we have in our foods.
Yeah, it makes sense. I didn't think about it, but you're right. What goes in the mouth and what comes out the back, what stays in the body is what's being utilized.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So you actually looked at two different types of animal protein. You looked at beef and pork, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And then as far as the plant-based product, you was it the Beyond Burger that you used?
We use both the Beyond Burger and the Impossible Burger, because those are both widely available in the United States. And so we used both of them, and we compared them to the pork burgers and the beef burgers.
And now they each have a different core protein as their carrier, right? One uses pea protein, and the other one uses soy, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So that is we have previously worked with pea protein and we worked with soy protein, and determined that the soy protein has a greater quality for humans than pea protein. But these burgers, of course, are made. There are different types of proteins in there, so they are mixtures, but primarily soy and pea protein.
And in my audience, we pay attention to high quality protein based on high leucine, because leucine triggers mTOR and protein synthetic response in muscle. And so soy actually has a comparable leucine value as to dairy, from what I understand, correct?
That is correct, but and leucine is important, but there's 9 or 10 indispensable or essential amino acids that we need to have in our food every day. Leucine is one of them, and that is an important one, but there are others that are equally important. You can't say one is more important than the other. And in particular, we have lysine. Lysine is a different amino acid that is typically low in all our grains, cereal grains. So if we have rice or wheat, other things, we get low lysine, we get low amount of an amino acid called tryptophan also, and those are also needed by our body. So it's the all 9 or 10 of these amino acids that we need. And soy protein is pretty good in most of those amino acids. It's a little bit low in one group that we call the sulfur-containing amino acids that is also needed, and that's a limitation of using soy, and by the way, also pea proteins.
Now, you corrected me off the air about a misunderstanding that I had. I've been saying on this show, and that's why I want you to correct me for the audience so they know that soy was not a good choice of protein because it has a trypsin inhibitor, which inhibits the digestion of the protein. But you said that all soy food products are heated or toasted, which deactivates the trypsin inhibitor, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So in natural soy proteins, we have the trypsin inhibitors, which makes the protein pretty undigestible. And so that's why we cannot just go out and pick some soybeans and grind them up and eat them. That will not work. We don't get amino acids that way because they are inhibited from being digested. So we have to have a heating step in between in the processing, or alternatively, what they did in the old days was fermentation, where fermentation can also be used to inhibit the trypsin inhibitors. And so therefore, once we have inhibited those or destroyed those inhibitors, then we can eat the soy protein. But all the soy protein that we have in our foods, whatever we use, tofu or other things, the soy flour, they have all been heat treated or toasted so that we have eliminated that problem.
So a lot of people within the bodybuilding community shy away from soy protein-based powders because they give you a lot of flatulence, as opposed to dairy protein, which doesn't give you that flatulence. It digests very easily. Why does soy-based protein powders give you flatulence?
Well, it's because soy also contains some components, some carbohydrate components called oligosaccharides. And those oligosaccharides, specifically in soy, they induce this flatulence. And the one way to get around that problem is if you can eat fermented soy products, because the fermentation takes out those oligosaccharides and eliminates them. So therefore, if you can eat fermented soy products such as tofu, or in Indonesia they use something called tempeh, and that's fermented also, and those products do not contain the oligosaccharides, and therefore they will not have that problem with flatulence.
So oligosaccharides are considered digestion-resistant starches, correct? Is that what they are?
They're resistant to digestion, but they are not starches. They are oligosaccharides. They are more in the fiber fraction.
Okay.
But they cannot be digested, and they have the microbial population in the hindgut has do some fermentation, but that induces a lot of gas, which is where you get the flatulence.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's get back to the research. So so describe how the study was designed, the different tiers, the different breakouts that you used to monitor the amino acids that were being absorbed.
Yeah, so we had the different burgers. We had 2 different beef burgers with 2 different amounts of fat, 80% fat or 93% fat. We had a pork burger, and then when I say burger, that's just the patties of themselves. We fed those, and then we also had the 2 plant-based burgers, the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger, and we fed all of those patties singularly to pigs. Because pig is recognized as the animal that is most closely associated with human digestion. And And then we also fed just the buns by themselves. And buns are basically made from wheat flour and a few other ingredients. So we measured those. And then we had 3 treatments where we combined combined the bun with the beef patties or the pork patties or the Impossible Burger patties. Because that is what humans eat. That's really the combination of the bun and the patties. So that's how we set it up. So we had all these treatments there.
Okay, and so what role does fat play in this discussion? I mean, obviously, fat influences digestive motility, but does fat contribute to the ability to absorb the amino acids better, or does it do anything like that?
Fat actually increases amino acid digestibility a little bit, not much, but a little bit, simply because it slows down the movement of digesters through the intestinal tract and particularly out of the stomach. So there's more time for the enzymes to digest the protein, and there's therefore a little bit more amino acids that are being absorbed. There's more time also for the transporters in the small intestine to absorb the amino acids into the body. So fat will slightly increase digestibility of amino acids. And that's something we've seen several times.
Are pigs omnivorous?
Yes.
Oh, I never realized that. Okay.
Yeah, they are very similar to humans. They will eat pretty much everything. They will, and by the way, they are very happy eating human diets. They are happy eating meat. We have fed them ribeyes, we have fed them salamis, we have fed them all kinds of different things, and they are very happy eating all of those things. So they are very similar to humans in that regard.
So when they ingested these 3 treatments, what did you find?
Well, we found when we had the combinations. Let me start with the patties by themselves. We found that the 3 animal-based patties, they had greater amino acid quality than the 2 plant-based patties, and they had we divide the scoring system into children that are less than 3 years and children that are older than 3 years, and also teenagers and adults are in that category. And we found that for the 3 animal-based burger patties, there were no limitations for any of these 2 groups. But for both the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger, they did not meet the needs for amino acids for these children under 3 years, even if we fed them just as patties without any buns. But when the bun, because they are based on wheat flour, that's a low quality protein, very low quality protein. That means when we combine the bun and the patties into a burger the way we would eat it normally, then we lower the quality of the combination because we have this low quality and the higher quality patties. So the average of that meal becomes lower. And in that case, the Impossible Burgers with the bun gives us amino acid quality that is way below what is needed to fulfill the requirement of humans.
Which amino acids were missing that make this not a good option for children under 3? I'm curious what creates that phenomenon.
Or it's primarily the lysine in the combination. The lysine is the number 1 limiting amino acid in these combinations with the plant-based burgers. Whereas there's another amino acid in the beef burgers, which was called valine. That was the first limiting amino acid. But that the lysine is primarily because the wheat protein has a low quality of lysine and low amount of lysine. So
and the plant-based burger also has low lysine, I'm guessing, because even the plant patty by itself was not suggested for children 3 and under.
Correct. Yes. So they don't have enough of those essential amino acids. That's really the bottom line.
Fascinating. Now, couldn't these manufacturers take your research and go, okay, we need to add lysine to our blend? Would that solve the problem if they bought freeform lysine in a powder and put it into their mix? Would that solve the problem?
That would not completely solve the problem. It would make it better, but they would not completely solve it because there are other amino acids, such as the sulfur amino acids and threonine, that were also low. They were not quite as low as lysine, but they would have to add all of these synthetic amino acids into the mix to get up to a quality that would be acceptable
to beef. Now, is digestive motility measured in these types of tests? Because I guess what I'm getting at is, I've heard that plant-based proteins are harder to digest. To me, that may mean the body has to work harder to extract the amino acids out of it, which may slow down digestive motility. Do we know if the plant-based burger versus the beef or pork or even the combination burgers, one moved more readily through the digestive tract than the other?
That was not something we measured, so we will not know that. But it is correct that the plant-based proteins are harder to digest. But the main outcome of that is we just get a lower digestibility. We absorb fewer amino acids if we feed these plant-based burgers compared with animal-based proteins. And it's not, in this case, of course, it's burger we are talking about. So it is meat from either beef cows or pigs we are working with. But it could also be eggs, it could be fish, it could be milk. They are all very easily digested, all these different plant proteins. So it's not only the meat as we used in this case that has a high digestibility.
So you have studied eggs as well in the past.
We have studied many other proteins, yes, also milk proteins.
Out of convenience, I like to eat 8 or 9 raw eggs in the morning. I crack them into a big cup and I drink them down. I've been told 2 things about this that's not good. And keep in mind, I've been doing this for decades. My father did it. I observed my father doing this. He was a truck driver. He would get up early in the morning, drink his eggs, and go to work. So I'm not worried about salmonella. I have fresh eggs. We keep them in the refrigerator. But my question to you is it in fact true that raw eggs are harder to digest than cooked eggs?
We have never made a study on that. I didn't know that anyone would eat raw eggs. We have never made a study on that. I'm not certain about that. I think eggs are pretty, the proteins in eggs are pretty easy to digest. And for sure, if you get 7 or 8 eggs in the morning, you get enough amino acids. I can guarantee you that. You're not deficient.
The other thing that I was told, that raw eggs have something called avidin, which will block the uptake of one of the B vitamins, I think B6. But I believe that the B6 has to be occupying the stomach at the same time in order for avidin to do its job. But so that's true that there is avidin in eggs then?
It's true there is avidin. But it's not true it's B6. It's a B vitamin called biotin that is being blocked. And you will have to be careful with that. You will have to probably take a supplement that makes sure that you get enough biotin into the body if you eat raw eggs. That is important. Yeah.
This is fascinating. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We have lots more questions for Professor Stein. So stay with us. You are watching and listening to Supreme Radio. Please post your questions if you have any. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or even LinkedIn, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Have you been struggling to achieve results in the gym? Trouble sleeping through the night? Overwhelmed with stress or anxiety? Look no further than Infiniwell supplements. They have designed products to address specific needs like muscle growth, hormone balance, sleep, and anxiety from the first use. Infiniwell helps you live well. Go to shrnetwork.biz/bewell, that's BEWELL, and use code SHR20 and start living well today. Redcon One's new B BAR bar is the ultimate soft-baked protein-packed snack bar, powered by peanut butter. Perfect for while on the go to help curb hunger or sneaky sweet tooth cravings. With 20 grams of protein, use as a meal replacement bar or when you're in need of a high-protein snack. Eat a Redcon 1 bar as a midday snack or for fuel before an intense training session. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Redcon1 and use the code SHR25 and save 25% off these delicious bars today. Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High-quality, pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/whiteoak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 10% off your entire first order.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low carb.
Spit that out right now. This is the Superhuman Channel.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I actually have a cousin who just retired from there, and she worked with pigs. She was a geneticist. Her name still is Vicky Shoemaker.
Okay.
And she worked at that campus in Champaign-Urbana.
Okay.
So the bottom line from your research, the takeaway is that if you are eating these plant-based burgers, you may have to eat a lot more of them in order to get the amino acids needed, correct?
That is correct, because at the end of the day, what we need is a certain number of grams of digestible, indispensable, or essential amino acids every day. So if we eat a high quality protein, like your eggs you mentioned, then you can eat a relatively low amount of protein and get enough. If you eat a low quality protein, then the only way you can get enough is to eat more, which means that you also get more calories into your body. So if you want to compare just the burgers here that we did, then you would need to eat, for the Impossible Burger with the bun, you would need to eat at least 15% more of that burger than if you eat a pork burger or a beef burger. And if you eat the Beyond Burger, you would probably need to eat 25 to 30% more of that combination. So that would give you more calories as well. But the problem is that there are many people in the US and specifically in developing countries that do not get enough digestible amino acids every day. They do not have the ability to eat more, and therefore they are malnourished. And in fact, protein malnutrition is the number one nutrition problem we have in the world, because people simply don't get enough digestible amino acids. This is a very serious issue, and not only in developing countries, but also here in the United States. Many children don't get enough dispensable amino acids. Many elderly don't get enough dispensable amino acids that are digestible. So this is not an unimportant issue. We, in particular for children, if we don't get enough digestible amino acids into the diets, that will result in stunted growth and reduced development, and in worst cases, in reduced brain development as well. So this is very important.
What is that disorder called? Whenever we see those shows on at night asking us to donate $14 a month to feed children overseas, they always have this bloated, distended stomach, and it's from a lack of protein consumption.
Yeah. Kwashiorkor is a name, and that word is from a local dialect in Ghana in Africa, and it literally means the disease that the children gets when their mothers stop nursing them, which means as long as they are on they're being breastfed, they get high quality milk protein from the mother, and they are fine. But when they are weaned from that breast milk and they start getting plant proteins, they don't get sufficient quantities of those indispensable amino acids, and then they get kwashiorkor, which means that their stomachs get they get edemas, they get extended stomachs, and so forth. They may get enough calories, but they do not get enough amino acids, and that is why you see those extended stomachs.
And you know, those organizations, as well-meaning as they are, they send these people rice flour and grains, and that's what. And they're feeding these kids need steak and hamburgers. They need they need pork sausages. They need, you know, it's really crazy. And I gotta put an image up here because I put this image up every chance I can, because there are those out there who would want you to think that in the United States we are just gluttonous red meat barbarian eaters. That's all we do is eat red meat. This is actually from a Food Research Institute, and this is what we are eating, what Americans consume in a year. That little red box at the top, which makes up maybe 5% of this dietary ring, is red meat. Look how big the fruits and vegetables segment are. Look how big the dairy section is. We are not eating the red meat that those who would want you to believe we are destroying the planet because of a barbaric love of red meat are actually, we're not eating it. We're just not. We're eating like 50 times more dairy and greens and vegetables and stuff like that. So, you know, red meat has become demonized, but those kids in those countries, in fact, I did an interview probably 7 or 8 years ago. There is an organization here in the United States that they raise money to send animals to these families. Now, here's why they send these animals. Number one, if you have a cow, it can pull a wagon. If you have a cow, it can pull a plow. If you have a cow, you can milk it. And so sending a family a cow makes them not only completely sustainable and healthy, but allows them to actually make money when their neighbors say, oh, I need you to pull a stump for me. You hook your cow up to it and you walk it away. So this is nonsense, sending these poor kids cereal. That's not going to save them. It's not. But it's convenient. Well, yeah, we can buy bags and burlap bags, 100-pound bags of cereal grains and ship them over there. But we're not really helping those kids at all. As they need more protein. That's what they need.
They need protein for sure. Whether it's meats or it's dairy protein or eggs, it doesn't really matter as long as it's a high quality protein they get. That's what they need.
Yeah. So what would you like people to take away from your research, Dr. Stein?
Well, the main objective was to determine or test the hypothesis if these plant-based burgers have the same amino acid quality, same protein quality as the animal proteins that we have typically used in our burgers. And the answer is very clear: no, they are not. So if you decide to eat a plant-based burger, you get a lower quality protein, you absorb less amino acids, and that means that you will need to either eat more or you need to have another source of high quality protein. If you drink a glass of milk or you eat a couple of eggs, you'll probably be fine along with those plant-based burgers. But just having your plant-based foods by itself it makes it very difficult to get enough of these amino acids, in particular for children. It's practically impossible to get enough amino acids into the diets for children if they are based solely on plant-based proteins. That it is almost impossible to design a diet that can do that. So that is, I think, the main takeaway is that if you decide to eat plant-based foods, you need to make sure you also combine that with some high-quality amino acid sources on in addition to those.
What's your opinion of the RDA on daily protein requirements? I think it's like 60 or 80 grams for an adult.
Yeah, it's actually only 50 grams, and that's probably too low. But again, protein doesn't tell us very much. If you get 50 grams of animal proteins, you're fine. If you get 50 grams of wheat protein, you're definitely not fine. So it's a poor way of discussing requirements to say protein requirements. It really has to be amino acid requirements and really digestible amino acid requirements. That's what we should be talking about, because that's what the body needs. So that hopefully in the future we will get to a point where each single amino acid or indispensable amino acid is regarded as a nutrient, and that we then establish requirements for each of these indispensable amino acids on a digestible level. That would be a major improvement in human nutrition. And by the way, interestingly enough, that's exactly how we feed pigs and poultry. We don't talk about protein requirements for pigs and poultry. We talk about requirements for digestible amino acids. And human nutrition is just not as advanced as we are in animal nutrition.
No, you know why? Because we want to yield in animal nutrition. We don't really care if people do well in human nutrition. That's fascinating. I think that would be wonderful someday for the information panel on a food to tell you the essential amino acids that you're getting lined out.
Yeah,
that would be fascinating. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I want to thank
you. As an example, you could not sell a pig diet to a farmer unless you provided that information. That farmer, he wants to know how many amino acids, what is the digestibility of the amino acids in this diet. You could not sell it otherwise. So that's it. It's fascinating that the livestock sector and the poultry sector, they are much more advanced than the human food sector in this regard.
What is the protein source, the crude protein source in pig food? Do they get, is it plant-based or is it dairy-based?
So that's primarily plant-based, primarily a lot of soybean protein. And the beauty of our pigs, our poultry, is that they can convert that soy protein into a very high quality pork protein or chicken protein or egg protein. They use the amino acids from those plants, and they convert it into higher quality proteins. And the same with the ruminants. They can live on pastures that have no alternative value really, because humans cannot eat those. We cannot grow anything on those areas, and they can convert that into high quality milk proteins or high quality beef proteins. So that's the beauty of the livestock, that they help us basically add value to the protein so that we can have high quality proteins in our diets.
This is fascinating. We need to start paying attention to the way they feed pigs, and people would be better off.
That's actually true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Dr. Stein, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Take care.
Sure.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay with me, okay? I'll be right back. Oh, I can't get anything to work. Here we go. There we go. Every day, there's a new wellness trend. Eat that. Do this. Avoid those. How do you know where to start or who to trust? Inside Tracker helps you cut through the noise by analyzing your blood, your DNA, your lifestyle, and your fitness tracker to provide you with a science-backed, trackable action plan on how to live, age, and perform better. Personalized, one-size-fits-one recommendations to help you optimize you. For a limited time, Inside Tracker is offering Superhuman Radio listeners 25% off the entire store. Go to shrnetwork.biz/inside tracker, INSIDETRACKER, to save 25% off. Change begins on the inside. If you've listened to Superhuman Radio for any length of time, you know I'm a big proponent of peptides. One of my favorites is GHKCU, the blue copper peptide. It has the ability to repair and regenerate more youthful expression of skin cells, reversing the signs of aging. Restore Cell's Stem Cell Awakening Serum, along with their other products, contains potent formulations of blue copper peptides and only the highest quality organic ingredients. Superhuman Radio listeners can now save 25% site-wide. Go to shrnetwork.biz/blue and use the code SHR25. Remodel your skin today. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/MyPillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website. Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. Microbes make up your immune system. That's why I'm really excited about P3OM. P3OM is a patented probiotic that might be the most effective probiotic ever developed. P3OM fights bad bacteria and strengthens immunity, basically a germ-fighting superhero. But it also helps digestion, speeds up metabolism, and increases energy throughout the day. That's way more than I thought a probiotic could do. And just when I thought P3OM couldn't get any more powerful, I watched a video that you can find at shrnetwork.biz/P3-OM of this probiotic literally breaking down a piece of steak. After I saw that, I was all in. Here's some more awesome news. You can get 10% off P3OM right now by going to shrnetwork.biz/P3-OM and by using the coupon code SHR10. And if you order it and it's not everything that you thought it would be, they will give you 100% of your money back, no questions asked. So if you want to protect yourself from whatever bug is floating around this year and take your digestion to a new level, visit shrnetwork.biz/P3-OM and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
I had a little funny thing to say before I close. So many of my listeners know my history and everything about me. So on YouTube, A_G said, if Wendy's makes a plant-based patty, will you go and get 6 patties on 1 bun for old time's sake? Absolutely not. I just drove through Wendy's, not yesterday, but the day before. I was in a hurry. I needed to pick up some lunch on the way to the studio. And I drove through and I ordered 8 large beef patties. So that's 1.5 pounds of beef. And the girl knows me, she knows. She's, I knew it was you. And they give me my 8 patties and I drive off. So no, but I'll stick to animal. I don't do, this is going to sound crazy. I'm 63 years old and I've really started to understand my gut. I really don't do well with certain plants. I'll call them plants. Certain things that people love and I love the flavor of, but they just destroy my stomach for days. I just don't feel good. And I'm really very focused on eating things that don't cause me any kind of awareness. Like if I eat a pound and a half of beef patties, I don't feel anything in my stomach. I don't have this awareness like, oh man, I'm full. If I eat 6, 8, 10, 12 raw eggs, boom, I don't feel them. I don't feel like, oh God, I'm so full, I won't be able to eat again for hours. But when I eat certain vegetables specifically, Brussels sprouts, if I eat Brussels sprouts, I can't eat anything for the rest of the day. And my mother taught me this, when it's funny. Your mother tells you stuff when you're young and you don't even pay attention to it. Then all of a sudden at a certain age, you learn this on your own. And you go, oh my God, my mother told me this. I don't do well with a lot of green stuff. I just don't. And I know Lisa says to me, oh, but you got to eat greens. Why? Why do I have to eat greens? Dr. Sean Baker has given a lot of us the freedom to say no to greens. Dr. Sean Baker he was on my show in 2014. He started the carnivore movement. Every day there's 30, 40 people posting on his Instagram. They had an old woman from Dublin the other day who said she's gone carnivore. She's off of 6 medications in a year. She's never felt better. Who knows? Maybe some of us aren't supposed to eat greens. And I get it. The government subsidizes lots of crops, and they need us to eat those crops so they can get their subsidy back. But not all of us do well with all that healthy, colorful vegetables. Another thing I don't do well with, I've finally figured out, is green bell peppers, red bell peppers, yellow. I don't care what the color is. If I eat peppers, it jacks my gut up. I don't feel good. I used to love eggplant parmesan. I'm Italian. I used to make eggplant parmesan at least once a year. Now I realize when I eat eggplants, oh my God, I belch, I fart, my stomach is bloated. Like, why am I doing that to myself? Just to get those healthy vegetables in my body? Obviously, they're not healthy for me. We always talk about individualized medicine. That's the new thing now, right? Treat a patient based on their symptoms, their genetics, their needs. Not here's a pill, go away. Well, you know what? Dietary templates are individualized too. Maybe you do well on the Mediterranean diet. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do well on some portions of it and you have to eliminate certain things. Maybe dairy doesn't work for you. Maybe all wonderful kefir gives you gut inflammation. That's what I found. When I did that show about kefir, you know me, in for a penny, in for a pound. I was drinking 2 quarts of kefir a day. Well, guess what I found out? Kefir wasn't good for me. So, and the people say, well, Carl, you should have just drank 1 cup. No, if one cup, I may not notice the inflammations it's causing. But when I drank 2 quarts a day, oh man, like I felt it. So you got to unlock your own diet. You really do. I mean, you can start out with certain things that you were raised with, but then you have to really think, like eat just one food and see how you feel. And it's a lot of work. People don't want to be bothered doing this. They don't want to, I have to eat one food now, like a vertical diet. You just eat this one food. That's it. How do I feel? Oh, I feel great. I don't feel good. Sadly, that's the only way some of us are going to unlock what works for us and what doesn't. So I'll leave you with that. The Christmas holiday is coming. We're going to all eat a bunch of garbage that's going to make us feel like hell. I stopped drinking alcohol. I can't drink alcohol anymore unless I just don't want to go to the gym for 2 or 3 days because I'm so weak. Yeah. And people would say, oh, but when I was young, I could eat anything. Yeah. And when you were young, you used to crap in diapers too, but you don't do that anymore either. All right. That's it for today's show. Thank you for being here. Please share the show. You never know who you're going to help. There's a lot of people out there with young children trying to raise them vegan. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Also, dogs and cats shouldn't be vegan. They are obligate omnivores. So anyway, all right. Well, we'll see you Monday. We have a good show Monday. Thanks for being here today. Share the show, and thanks for keeping Superhuman Radio going. We'll see you soon.